action figure enthusiasts. Welcome to another TNI news video. I'm JC and we've got a lot to cover today, so let's hop right into it. Now the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is an announcement from Funko this week. They're going to be doing a new line of 3.75-inch Disney TV series figures. The first wave is said to include a Darkwing Duck figure, which will have a black and white variant, and then Scrooge McDuck from Ducktales, Baloo from Tailspin, and from Rescue Rangers will be Chip and Dale. And these figures are slated for release next month, so you don't have too long to wait for those. And they are currently up for pre-order at Big Bad Toy Store. NECA this week, they teased an image for their Wallace figure, which is part of their second wave of Blade Runner 2049 7-inch figures. The first wave, which includes Deckard, played by Harrison Ford, and Officer K, played by Ryan Gosling, is out on shelves now. If you haven't caught my review for those, you definitely should. Now, the other figure in the second wave is going to be the female character Love. Now, Blade Runner opened this past weekend, and was actually kind of deemed a box office failure. Only brought in about $31 million for its opening weekend. The movie cost about $150 million. So again, didn't have a very strong box office opening. But I saw the movie this weekend and thought it was really good. It is a little bit on the long side and not as action-oriented as the first movie. But if you were a fan of the first movie, I think you'll definitely want to check that movie out. McFarlane Toys had a couple of announcements this week as well. First of all, they announced a new wave of 7-inch Stranger Things figures. Now, the first wave, which will be coming out soon, will feature figures of Eleven and Chief Hopper. And then the second wave is said to include figures of Dustin and Lucas. And also announced was a 10-inch deluxe figure of the Demogorgon, which will be released in April. McFarlane Toys also announced this week that they're going to be doing new 7-inch Destiny 2 video game figures, which will include Ikora Rey, Zavala, and Cade 6. And if I butchered those names, I apologize. I don't play the game, so I'm not really familiar with the characters. But those figures will be out in April. Tamashii Nations last week during New York Comic Con announced that they'll be doing 2 SH Figuarts figures based on the upcoming animated film called Batman Ninja. This will be out in 2018. As I understand it, the storyline is that Batman and Joker get sent back in time to feudal Japan. So the 2 figures that Tamashii Nations is doing is a Batman and Joker figure, and these look like, you know, they're kind of like in samurai type outfits and such, because again, they've been sent back in time to feudal Japan to battle it out with each other. So I don't really know a whole lot about the movie, but you know, these figures definitely look kind of interesting, kind of in keeping with their movie realization line that they do with Star Wars. So I don't know if you like that kind of diverse look for these characters, but definitely I thought they were kind of interesting. I don't have any kind of release date on these or anything like that. They just had the figures on hand at New York Comic Con. Kaiyodo today released official images for their amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech Captain America figure. We had seen this figure first a while back at a convention, but now we're getting official images. The figure is said to stand 6.4 inches tall and will feature 38 points of articulation. He'll have his shield, which you can mount on his back or on his arms. Also, he'll have 3 interchangeable portraits, multiple pairs of hands, a figure stand, and an effect piece that'll attach to the shield so it looks like somebody's shooting bullets at him. The figure is slated with a February 2018 release date. And this figure to me is kind of like the Wolverine figure. It looks like it just stepped out of the new Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite game. It's definitely very similar to how Captain America looks in that game. Doesn't have much of a neck or anything. I don't know, definitely kind of a Marvel Now type outfit. So if you're into the Revoltech figures, you'll probably want to check that one out when it's released. And then finally, I just wanted to let you guys know who are looking to get the new Marvel Legends 6-inch Toy Biz Tribute line. That has started to hit shelves. It is hitting Walgreens currently. It'll be available everywhere, but right now they've been found at Walgreens stores. So if you have a local Walgreens and you're wanting to pick up that wave, you might want to check your local store. Okay, and switching gears to the Q&A, and if you're not familiar, this is the portion where you guys ask me questions in the comment sections of these news videos, and then I'll pick a couple and try and answer them to the best of my ability. So if you want to ask a question for a future video, just ask it down below in the comment section of this video. Just put Q&A next to it with your question, and I'll try and get to it next time. But to start things off this week, I've got a question from Spidey1997 who asks, which X-Men character would you like to see as a Marvel Legends from the 90s era Jim Lee? So the one I would like to see the most is Beast. I am waiting for an updated Beast figure. Not that the Toy Biz ones aren't great that they did, but I would really like an updated version of Beast. The other one, which I think is in high demand, is Gambit, and I kind of think that that multiple man that they showed off last week at New York Comic Con would make a great body for a Gambit figure. So, yeah, this might be kind of a tease for Gambit. I don't know. But those are probably the two I want to see the most from the Jim Lee era. Alex the Gamebuster 2.0 asks, do you think DC Collectibles will make a CW Vibe action figure? So I think if DC Collectibles chooses to continue the DC TV series line, then Vibe would certainly be a strong possibility. He's been a major player on the Flash TV series and definitely seems like a logical choice to me. Now, I'm not advocating that DC is planning on canceling the line. The only reason why I even have any hesitation about it is we've not heard about any new figures for that line well into 2018. We've seen all of the DC solicitations up until May, and there's been no indication that they're doing any more figures. There is a new wave about to come out, which is going to have the White Canary and Kid Flash and Atom figure, which we first saw at Toy Fair earlier this year. And then there's also the Season 3 Flash, which is basically just a reissue of the box set Flash that came with the Arrow figure that had that unmasked head, even though this reissue doesn't include the unmasked head. So, you know, like I said, that's left a little bit of doubt on the future of that line. Again, I've not heard anything specific from DC Collectibles about them discontinuing the line or even from retailers, but being that we haven't heard anything new, the earliest we might see something is the end of next year. So, you know, definitely nothing in the foreseeable future for Vibe. The Obsessed Man asks, we've had a couple of cool NECA DC movie and TV figures such as the Ledger Joker, Keaton, Bale, West, Batman figures, and Reeves Superman. Is it possible we could be seeing more figures like that? I would love to see a Batman Begins, Dark Knight Scarecrow, and Two-Face. So I've not heard anything about more DC movie figures. Now those generally they throw out as a surprise. So, you know, being I haven't heard anything certainly doesn't mean anything. I will say that NECA seemed to be switching gears a little bit with their DC and was trying to do those Dark Horse versus DC figures. They showed them off first at Toy Fair earlier this year. But Randy has said a few times since San Diego Comic-Con that those figures have kind of gone into limbo as I guess some issues have come up with licensing. I don't know the exact issues. There's a lot of different companies that play with those, Dark Horse Comics, Warner Brothers, DC Comics, so on and so forth. So I don't know where the holdup is, but definitely right now those figures are in doubt of whether they'll be released or not. And being that that's where they were kind of focusing their DC figures this year, I don't know if we'll see any movie or TV series figures this year as well. And then final question comes from Night Captain, who asks, what is the status of the DC Comics Multiverse Clayface wave? Will it be out in October? So to answer your question, I don't think it'll be out in October. I never really heard October as a release date from any of my sources. What I was always told, and last time I checked, which was some time ago, but was that they would be out at the end of this year. I would guess probably end of November or December, maybe even tipping over into the beginning of January if there is some kind of delay going on with the figures. But I would suspect you'll probably start seeing them in store shelves before anyone really has them up for pre-order. So part of the problem is that Mattel just is not very good with communications these days. There's really nobody to contact that deals with that line specifically. I've had some minor success in the past, but recently when I've tried to ask questions, I've been trying to get information on the new wave that they showed at New York Comic Con, the Rebirth Lex Luthor wave, and really have not been able to get any information on that. They had those figures at New York Comic Con, but there was nobody from Mattel to actually ask questions because the figures were just on display at the DC Entertainment booth. So again, I've reached out to Mattel to find out if like the Simon Baz figure and the Bizarro figure that images had slipped out of that were supposed to be in that wave are still coming. Not heard anything back, and trying to get a specific release date is probably not going to be very likely as well. But again, last I heard, we should be seeing that wave at the end of this year, and I assume because they're still showing off figures at events like New York Comic Con that the figures haven't been canceled or anything. You know, I can't say that definitively, but I would expect probably you'll start seeing them towards the end of this year. Okay, so that's it for this week. Like I said, if you've got a question you'd like me to try and answer, ask it in the comment section down below, and I'll do my best to get to it. Just put Q&A next to it. As always, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, what you think about everything we discussed today. Please like the video if you're so inclined, and please hit that subscribe button down below. I would really appreciate it if you haven't already. You can also follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. I have links to those in the video description as well. And until next time, guys, I will catch you later.